Hey, welcome to the Three Geeks Network on YouTube. My name is Jay, joined by my wife Liz, Philip, Max, and Dan. We just all saw Avengers Age of Ultron, and we are going to review it for you. There is spoilers ahead. Check this review out on iTunes later this week. So, who wants to do the summary of this movie? Max, I'm going to let you do it.
Go
Give us a summary, buddy.
All right. Well, are we gonna go into like super spoilers already? I feel like if I sum it up, that's into the spoilers.
That's fine. Spoilers. If you're
All
listening
right.
to this, there are spoilers. There we go.
All right. Well, I just because I want to say like, define your worst case scenario for watching a movie. Right? You're all the way up front. You're surrounded by children, and not only are you all the way up front, but you're all the way to one side. Okay, so it's the worst possible view in the worst possible situation, and the movie was still awesome. I mean, I'm amazed at how awesome that movie is because I was in movie hell, and the movie was still great.
It's not really a story synopsis.
No, that's why I didn't want to do it right away because I had to talk. We had to talk about this. I mean, like the movie was still so good. Anyone agree? Like,
I was sitting next to you, so it's my worst movie experience, sir.
and Dan was there. try to think of a worse movie experience than sitting next to Dan and 8,000 children.
I could have put you
Sitting
right
next
in
to
the
Max
middle
after he
of all
tacos?
8,000 children by yourself.
Anyway, we digress. The movie starts off shot out of a cannon. You've got the Avengers. That money shot from the trailer that you see with all 5 of them lined up going into battle, that is one of the first scenes you get in this movie. Like, they just start you. And you get this awesome things. You find out, they get Loki's scepter. Stark goes back. Him and Bruce Banner decide to use the scepter to initiate an Ultron program, which is artificial intelligence. Ultron becomes self-aware, just like everybody's worst nightmare. He realizes that the Avengers are the real threat to humanity and sets out to destroy them. So he goes off, hides in a cave for a little while, and then the Avengers try to piece themselves together and fight this threat. There is as good of a synopsis as you're going to get from me. So let's go into likes and dislikes. We'll do likes first, and then we'll do some dislikes, then we'll give our overall feelings, and just do it from there. Philip, go first.
So I actually kind of liked the explanation of Ultron. It wasn't that they simply created Ultron. They discovered Ultron is really what I would say, and they gave him life. So I appreciated that explanation. I loved the action sequences. They were absolutely amazing. And then probably another thing I really liked was that well, we'll see, but I think they might have actually killed somebody and left them dead. We shall see.
Yeah, Philip, Dan, go first. What do you like, or second?
What do I like? Yeah, the action scenes are really good. Really, really good. I also like the inclusion of Scarlet Witch because I like the kind of weird side characters more than the main Avengers. I like how out of place Thor is in like the whole movie. I mean, he kind of is in the whole comic spiel of things anyway, but it's just kind of fun. I liked when Ultron first comes up. He looks like a creepy zombie version of the Iron Man suits. That's pretty. He's got like wires hanging off of him. He's just kind of like, yeah. Nice, Max. Yeah. I mean, I liked it.
Max?
Yeah, obviously they spent a whole bunch of money, so the CG, the action sequences look really cool. What I really liked was the team-up power moves. Those are the best. And I really loved them in the first Avengers movie, and they did not disappoint in this movie. I feel like with this movie, it was like Joss Whedon saying goodbye. He was like, this is it. So he just packed it full of everything you loved and it kind of felt like goodbye to me because he was like, here, just take it, because everything was almost too much. There was almost too much joking. There was almost too much of the love story stuff. There's almost too much of the action sequences, but it wasn't. But it just seemed to me like goodbye. So that kind of makes me sad. But the movie was great.
One of the things that I really liked about this, my biggest complaint with sequels typically is the beginning. They spend the whole time getting the band back together, and in this one they didn't spend any time getting the band back together. The band was together. They were singing. It's not like Ghostbusters 2 where they're all out of business. They got to come back and find each other. I'm glad that we didn't spend a whole lot of time finding out what happened to Iron Man after, because at the end of Iron Man 3 he left. He was no longer Iron Man, so you were led to believe. But in this movie, forget it. He is Iron Man. He's back. We don't need any explanation. We've got what we want. We don't need to sit through these guys finding each other again because it's stupid. So that was one of my favorite things. I liked how Hawkeye was kind of more fleshed out, gave Jeremy Renner something to do. I like Jeremy Renner as an actor, so it was nice that he wasn't brain dead zombie in this one like he was in the first one. I know some of you guys didn't like this, and we'll get into that, but I really like James Spader as Ultron. I like how they humanized that character more so than didn't. Like, I like that part of the villain. Like, he wasn't just robotic, and Spader's voice is extremely creepy. And like Max said, the Whedon humor could have been too much, but it wasn't. It was everything you expect from Joss Whedon. The one-liners, there's a lot of them. And Elizabeth Olsen was awesome. I really liked her performance as Scarlet Witch. And I don't even care that they weren't mutants in this movie because it didn't matter. Babe?
I really loved the whole movie. I thought it was going to be a little bit different. I don't read the comic books as much as these gentlemen do, so I kind of just catch up as things go along. And I really had the impression that Tony Stark was actually going to be like almost like the bad guy, like everybody hated him, and they were going to want to start blaming him for everything, and it was like, I got more of the impression like, okay, yeah, you effed up, let's fix it and move on with our lives. And it just seemed like, even though it kept saying that the team wasn't united, it really felt like it really was. I like the love story, of course, and just all the action. I'm not an action person, but it was done really, really well. So I liked it a lot.
I actually like that it was Banner and Natasha that was the love story. It wasn't Cap and it wasn't Natasha, because that would have been too on the nose. And they kept Thor's and they kept Iron Man's, and they dealt with that in a really funny way, but they kept their love story out of the movie.
Yeah.
So, and I am sad about Joss Whedon leaving. That is a big deal. I mean, the Russo brothers were great with Captain America too, but to do an ensemble movie is extremely hard, and Whedon has proven that he's really good at ensembles. It's bittersweet that he's left, and we're going to talk about that on Tuesday's episode more. But
yeah, I have to say kudos to Elizabeth Olsen and Scarlett Johansson on this one. Like, I really feel like they played their parts really well and carried their parts of the movies really well. Like, it was just, it was really good. It was a really good movie. I liked Quicksilver. I didn't think I was going to like Quicksilver at all. I really hated him in the X-Men movie.
What?
Yeah.
I love Quicksilver. He's one of my favorites. But I was on the same fence because I was like, he's not going to be the same. But I absolutely loved his character. Like,
yeah, and
I loved both of them. So
I was worried about Kick-Ass playing Quicksilver, but I liked him in this. I thought he did an all right job. Like, their accents kind of came in and went every now and again, but you can tell they were trying real hard, And I give you credit for that.
Yeah, I'm definitely a mutant fan, so I was pretty thrilled with the meshing of the two together. It worked really nicely.
And
yeah, I definitely want to see Andy Serkis more after I saw him in this movie.
Oh, dude.
Oh, we're gonna see more Andy Serkis in Black Panther for sure.
Well, I mean, like, I'm disappointed that we didn't get a little Black Panther cameo, and then I'm wondering where Captain Marvel was, because I know like she was in there. I bet you she was in there. They're just like, oh yeah, did you see this random blonde chick walking by? That was her.
Oh, the internet will be blown up with little Easter eggs tomorrow. Like,
Right,
holy
right.
shit, did you see the Punisher? It was just a guy walking in a skull suit. That was him.
He was there. He was there.
Before I get to my favorite part of this movie, which was
Well, are we going to do dislikes? Did we do dislikes?
Yeah, we're going to do dislikes right now. Max, go first.
No. I want Dan to go first.
All right, Dan.
He did. He was very adamant about this.
Not about going first, but my
Well, now there's no risk.
my main dislike is that Ultron has a mouth. It just took me out of it, the whole CGI thing. It's like, why does the robot man need a mouth? I kind of would have liked it better if, you know, he maybe had like a shield that moved a little bit or something, like old, you know, Transformers Optimus Prime style. But there's that, and the whole plan at the end, like his plan to blow up the Earth was just kind of dumb. It's like it comes from the old Gundam things, you know, where they just started dropping colonies on like planets and killing everybody. That's where that came from. I thought some of the comedy was a little overdone. I would have liked it a little more serious. And I thought that like they threw like almost everything in the kitchen sink into you thinking that Jeremy Renner's was going to die. all you needed was I've got 2 days to retirement, and I'm getting too old for this shit. And that would have just gone on top of that cake. I don't want to shit on it too much because I really like the movie, but that's what I didn't like.
Max?
I didn't like so much of the Jerry, like you're saying, the Jeremy Renner, like, oh man, he's totally gonna buy it at the end of this movie. Like, you can just tell it's just dripping with "I'm gonna die." Like, yeah, I thought that was a bit much. Because you know it was all for a punchline, you know.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, so at the end, like, yeah, are we doing super spoilers?
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the end, Quicksilver saves him, sacrifices himself, and you know, that kind of made me sad because I really did like the Quicksilver character. But yeah, so like, you know, and it's like, oh my goodness, Hawkeye didn't die. Like, we spent the whole movie thinking he was gonna die, and then he didn't. Oh, you got us, like. That was it. And so, yeah, I didn't like that. The lips, I mean, they gave Ultron lips. Like, he's like duck facing a little bit. Like, if you notice towards the end, it gets worse, it seems to me. But, yeah, that was probably like the worst parts of the movie. There was, like I was saying, you know, it seemed like Joss Whedon was saying goodbye, so he kind of just packed it full of everything that everybody liked. And so the comedy did get, you know, to almost, I thought it was almost to too much. Yeah, I definitely could have dialed it back some and been okay. But, yeah, it's, and maybe even a little too much action. I mean, like, you're just getting these big scenes of the Avengers doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but it's like, you know, okay, we know. But I like the character development that they had between Scarlett Johansson and, you know, the Hulk and Black Widow. And I liked, you know, like some of the real, you know, like stuff that they were doing. So it just kind of sucked that they was like, okay, we'll just pile more shit in there. Like, that's what it kind of seemed like to me.
Oh.
Yeah. So like for me, Ultron didn't really distract from me. I did think it did get more over the top the further the movie went on. As far as the comedy, I can kind of see what you were saying, but I think it was the uneven pacing. Is what I think was because it would be really serious and then they would drop some funny jokes and I was like, what? And rather than, you know, being serious, drop a light joke to kind of lighten the mood. So I can kind of see that. But like for me, my biggest thing that kind of bugged me with not even just a word, a talk, anything. Like, they could have thrown a sentence away at me and I would have been happy. Was the explanation of Iron Man suddenly coming back. Like, that's a dramatic change of heart to go from blowing all this shit up to, all right, I got a whole army behind me and I'm coming back in. I guess that was the only piece that kind of stuck with me. As far as, I want to say, was there anything else really? I mean, I think I would have liked more exposition at times, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And so that was my debate. I was like, well, these are some awesome action scenes. But it'd be kind of cool to explore what they just talked about here. But they can't because they've got to get back to the action. So it was kind of... so supposedly, didn't he say he did a cut that this movie was like 3 hours or 3 hours and 10 minutes?
There will be a director's cut. They've already said when the Blu-ray comes out.
So I want to see that because I have a feeling a lot of my complaints are probably in that.
Philip, do you think that, yeah, he had his epiphany and he destroyed all his Iron Man suits, but do you think that, I mean, like, if you notice what Avengers Tower is now, I mean, it's straight up Avengers Tower, and to build all that, like, he kind of like washed away. He does what Tony Stark does. He kind of threw away all the old crap and built this whole new thing.
Sure.
So
why?
Yeah. What were you saying?
I said I agree with you there, but the why. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. You've seen him just scrap projects before. I think this was more of the same. Like, as far as explaining it away goes, like, it's just like, oh well, Tony was done with that, so he scrapped it. And then, yes, but like, I liked that at the end they had the dedicated like Avengers facility still, and they switched up the whole crew. We got Cap and Black Widow, and who else from the original is there?
Just those two.
Just those two.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited for the next one, and I'm excited for Civil War. Like, what's gonna go on there?
Yeah. See, with the whole Ultron thing, I get why he was the way he was. They wanted to humanize him. I mean, that didn't bother me so much. The thing that really got with me with this movie is some parts seem slow, and I think that goes with the pacing with Philip. And I'm kind of intrigued to see what the director's cut would have been, because even if it's longer, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to feel slower, because maybe there's things that help bridge some of the stuff that seems slow. But, if this were Captain America 3, I would complain about the plot a little bit, but since it's an Avengers movie, I got everything I wanted out of it. I got my fight scenes, I got my action, I got my greatest hits, I got everything I wanted out of this movie. When going into Civil War, though, I want you to get back to the Winter Soldier. That's really my only complaint, and that's one of the reasons Avengers 1 and Guardians, or not Guardians, but Avengers 1 and Cap 2 are still slightly higher than this one, is because of the pacing. But that's really my only thing, is just that it felt slow. Liz?
My dislike was, especially since we're talking about all this editing and stuff that probably was edited out and shouldn't have been, was the one scene where Bruce Banner's like, should I go, should I not go? And he's like walking out, and what was that girl's name again?
Scarlet Witch?
Scarlet Witch?
Yeah. So she's like, well, I'm going to go and mess with him. And all of a sudden, he's the Hulk. And you see everyone else's vision, like what they're seeing, but you don't really see what's going on with the Hulk. And then, so they're like, well, we can't tame him, so we'll just beat the crap out of him until he passes out. I'm like, you don't have, like, some kind of, like, Hulk tranquilizer or something? Like, you literally have to beat the shit out of him, so you spent, like 15 minutes of the movie tearing up a whole city because he's angry.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and do it again.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love the scene. That was pretty awesome. Like, it was pretty awesome fighting, but it had nothing to do with anything.
It didn't need to.
It was just like Iron Man versus Hulk. Go.
Yeah.
This shows the comic book fan in us and the not really a comic book fan in my wife, because
I like the scene. Like,
I
good, but it had nothing to do with anything.
No, I totally did. I had the same thought. I'm like, why don't they just tranquilize the Hulk? And then the nerd in me took over and was like, I want to see this fight.
You can't tranquilize the Hulk. It doesn't work. You just can't do it. That's
But you can
not
beat
something.
the Shav until he passes
Yes,
out.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can concuss the Hulk if you have Hulk Buster armor.
Okay. Which barely held up.
Trivia: the Hulk's voice was Lou Ferrigno again.
Oh, nice.
So it's nice that guy keeps working.
Hey, man.
And, you could tell Scarlet Witch is one of Joss Whedon's favorites in the Marvel universe. He made that clear, and you can see in the movie she does some really cool stuff. I mean, she's not in it as much as the rest, but she's pretty cool. I love this movie, and I can't wait to go see it again tomorrow. Not as a reviewer, as a fan.
I thought, kind of how they did her powers was kind of weak. I thought that was, like, the weakest set, but they're also the weirdest, so there's that, I guess.
Actually,
But
I thought the weakest was the Vision, though.
They didn't really touch him much.
He's like super badass dude, and he like gets knocked out for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't like that. They don't really explain what happened. They're just like, oh, yeah, he's out.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, and let's touch on the end credits. We finally got a picture of Thanos putting the glove on, and that was pretty awesome. So after years of cock teasing us, we're finally gonna get the Thanos showdown.
Actually, this is the first time Thanos, like, moved, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now he moved his head in Guardians.
No, but, like, this is the first time he's, like, standing up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's always sitting down and everything else, yes.
Well, now he's pissed. There you go.
Yeah, had to get up.
Like, don't run. Make me stand. That's it. I'm going to destroy your universe.
All right, let's get into our ratings. I'll go first. I give this movie an easy 9 out of 10. I liked it. It's everything I wanted and then more. Even like the nitpicks that we all had is not enough to deter you from enjoying this movie. I mean, I had to scrape to find something wrong with this because it's just so much good going for it. And to use my greatest hits analogy, there's a few songs in the playlist that's a little slower or not your favorites, but it doesn't matter because the whole package is amazing. So it's an easy 9 out of 10.
I give it a 9.8 because Jason said we can't just throw 10s around. So a 9.8. It was amazing.
Philip.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm actually going to give it an 8.9 just because I put Avengers at a 9, and it's slightly less than that. And for that reason, and the little things, I'm being nitpicky, but again, I expect more because of what they delivered the first time around.
Max?
I'm going to give it an 8. It was great, but like I said, it feels like too much of everything to me. And so, I don't know, like it didn't... I was really happy. I'm definitely going to go watch it again. I'm watching it on a Saturday. I might go watch it on Sunday. But, I don't know, it just feels like almost too... It's like when you have a cheesecake right in front of you. You want to eat the whole thing, but you can't because it's so sweet that it's gross. So, you got to just have a little piece of cake. Like, that's what Avengers gave us, and this time Joss Whedon was like, eat the whole thing! So so it gets an 8, but still a great movie. I'm going to go watch it a bunch of times. Take my money.
I'm going to balance out Liz's 0.02% and go with an 8.3. I was going to go with an 8.5, but then everything balances out nicely, and because of lips and City Drive, it's an 8.5.
Awesome. So that was our review. Definitely check out this movie. It's going to make billions of dollars to help support Marvel. There is a lot... Get into this. Let's touch on it really quick. There's a lot of setup in this film. You have a lot of hints to the Hulk leaving the planet. You don't actually see him leave, but they throw it in your face a few times that he can't be on Earth because it's not safe. There's a lot of hints to Tony and Rogers' future rivalry, and you can kind of see that. like Max said, is a different Avengers team. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this film that sets up the bigger universe.
And Thor Ragnarok. They're
Yeah.
dropping hints about that.
And Black Panther is set up in this too. Not him per se,
I
but
love how he lost his arm. That was so
Yeah,
awesome.
dude, we only talked for like 0.2 seconds about how awesome Andy Serkis was in this movie.
I want to see him in other movies.
Like,
Straight up.
he was so good. I love that character, and yeah, they chop off his arm. Perfect setup. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm still really sad that we didn't get any Black Panther. Of course, actually, no, he probably was. They'd be like, "Well, you see that black guy right there? That was a Black Panther."
They're gonna like CGI him like running across the ship in that scene.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's gonna because I kept on waiting for the Black Panther to show up when all the Avengers were in the ship, in Africa and all that good stuff. But yeah, it never happened. But anyway,
What are they gonna do though? He could be like, "Hi, I'm Black Panther. See ya."
that's his turf, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's weird that he would be in Africa, Dan.
Well,
He's an African.
Spider-Man in the first Avengers now was there.
What?
There's no Spider-Man in the first Avengers.
We're not talking about Spider-Man and how it doesn't make sense for Spider-Man to be there. We're talking about how it does make sense for the Black Panther to be in Africa when people are in Africa because the Black Panther is African.
Okay. I mean, you could drop the Phantom in there too. You could like run around and.
Hey, anyway, we digress. My
Yeah, I
name
hate
is Jay.
so much.
Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, 3 Geeks Network. I was joined by Liz, Philip, Max, and Dan. So from all of us, have a great night.